Welcome to this stretch session. So for this class you just need your strap. It's mat based, we're going to be staying down on the floor, some seated, some kneeling stuff. So if you know that you need some cushions to bolster yourself, then feel free to grab those as well. And when you're ready, we're just going to start in a seated position. So find somewhere comfortable. So however's comfortable for you, you can be cross-legged, you can have your legs out wide, whatever feels nice to you. And then try and sit with a fairly tall back. So we don't want to be arching our back and thrusting those ribs, but see if you can sit really nicely stacked. So if you think about your rib cage kind of being stacked directly above your pelvis, and see if you can find those sit bones. And then once you're in that position, just let your shoulders relax. And we're just going to take some deep breaths here to begin with. So just taking a big full breath and a long slow exhale, just letting it go. We're just going to do that a couple of times. Finding that expansion of your rib cage, seeing if you can feel that movement here. And then we're just going to start to move a little bit. So let's just start with a gentle twist. So inhale as you grow tall. Exhale as you twist as far as you can to one side, and then let your arms just come down there. Inhale in again as you come through centre, and exhale to twist to the other side, and again just letting your arms gently come down. Inhale, centre, and exhale, twist. And it's just really relaxed. We just don't want to be using our arms to kind of crank our body to twist. And then as you come in through centre this time, just pause. I'm going to just cross my legs over the other way. Feel free to keep switching up your seating position. Don't feel like you have to just sit in that one position the whole time. And again, very gentle. We're going to take it into just a little side bend. Don't force anything. You don't have to have really straight, rigid arms. Let's just start to move here a little bit. Getting some movement into our body. Moving with your breath. I like to inhale through centre and then exhale over. Furious crunching of a biscuit next to me. That's not me. Crunching. One more to each side. And then coming in through centre. This time we're going to reach one arm as far across to one side as you can, and then we're going to sweep that arm up and overhead just to kind of come back to your start position. Same on the other side, so we're going to reach that arm across and then just let it come up and overhead and just back to your start position. So it's just a little bit of mobilisation work for those shoulders, getting a little bit more movement in. Again, just really soft. One more time, and then just come into rest there. We're going to see if we can find a little bit of movement for our spine here as well. I'm just going to turn sideways so you can kind of see what I'm doing. Can you see if you can start to rock your pelvis forwards and backwards here? So it's really tempting to do the ribs, and we do the pelvic tilt on our back. We sometimes do it seated with our knees bent, but see if you can do it just in a normal seated position. Because we're going to find our seated cat-cow. So let's allow our pelvis to tilt back, so we're kind of tucking our bottom under, and then start to round your back, dropping your chin towards your chest and try and make that back as rounded as you can. And then we're going to go the other way, so we're going to tilt the pelvis forwards as we start to lift the chest and the head, finding that kind of arch position. Let's go the other way, so tilt your pelvis back. Can you find that rounded cat-cow position? And then go the other way as you tilt your pelvis, and you find some extension there. Again, just nice and slow, nice and controlled. Doesn't need to be fast, doesn't need to be big. Just some gentle movement. And kind of breathe however makes sense to you. I tend to inhale as I come up into that extension, and then exhale as I curl. Two more like that. as you come back in through centre this time. We do want to have a cross-legged position. So if you've been cross-legged the whole time with me, cross them over the other way. And then we're going to do a little circle. So we've done a little bit of flexion and extension. So can you circle your body around now? And you might find that your pelvis kind of wants to roll around a little bit, and that's fine. Imagine that you're, I was going to say you've got a hula hoop, but you wouldn't really do this with a hula hoop. You're just trying to find that kind of, it's a real funny one, isn't it? And then if you manage to find some kind of rhythm, can you go the other way? It's just all about mobilising your spine and getting as much movement there as you can. Alright, and then come to pause there. So now we're going to see if we can fold forwards. We've got our legs in that crossed position. Can you fold slightly forwards, deep into those hips, bringing those hands down to the floor? And you can stay with a flat back, or you can allow your spine to round forwards if you want to. Maybe you can come down to your elbows. Maybe you can drop your head down. Just find a position that feels okay for you, and let's hold there for a few breaths. When you're ready, slowly bring yourself kind of back up and out of that. And we're just going to cross the legs over the other way and do the same thing. So again, find that cross-legged position. And again, hinging forwards. Bring your hands to the floor if they reach. And again, you can stay with that flat back, or you can round down. Again, just kind of finding the position that works for you and taking some deep breaths. Now, if you were to be really struggling with hip mobility and you couldn't get your knees to the floor, you can still even round forwards there. So wherever you are is good. Wherever you are is right for you. One more breath. And then we're going to slowly come on up and out of that. Okay, let's have one leg in and one leg wide now. And it doesn't matter which way, because we're going to do both sides. The leg that's out long, can you push out through your heel and pull the front of the foot towards you? We're trying to create length and space down the back of that leg. And then still see if you can sit tall. Sorry. Shh. We're going to twist towards the bent leg, okay? So twist your body to look towards that bent leg. And then the arm that's at the back is going to come up to the sky. And the arm that's at your front is going to come to rest on that long leg. And we're going to now do a side bend over that long leg. So you're still kind of twisted, looking towards the bent leg. But we're side bending over the other side. And just again, hold for a couple of breaths. And then when you're ready, come up and out of that, lowering the arm down and twist back into centre. Stay here, because we're going to do that again. So again, we sit tall. We're going to twist our body to look towards the bent leg. That back arm's going to come up to the sky. Front arm's going to rest on that long leg. And again, we're going to side bend over and hold for a couple of breaths. See if you can soften a little bit here. Let your body relax down. One more breath. And then we're going to come up and out and twist back in through centre. Really nice. Let's try that on the other side. So just switching those legs. Again, the leg that's out long, we're going to push out through the heel, pull the front of the foot towards us to create space and length. Sit nice and tall. Exactly the same. We're going to twist towards the bent leg. The arm that's at the back is going to come up to the sky. Front arm is going to rest on that long leg. And we're going to side bend over. We're going to hold for a couple of breaths. When you're ready, we're going to come up and out, releasing that arm down and twist back in through centre. Same thing again, sit tall, twist towards your bent leg. Back arm's going to come up to the sky, front arm's going to rest on that long leg, and we're going to again side bend over, reaching towards that long leg, and see if you can again soften just a little bit here. Good job. When you're ready, up and out, release the arm and twist yourself all the way back in through centre. Good. Let's take both legs wide this time. So both legs are wide. We're going to push out through the heels, pull the front of the foot towards us. If you're super tight through your back, sit on a cushion to lift you up, or you can kind of bend your knees a little bit just to give a little bit of slack in those tight hamstrings. Let's see if we can fold forwards here, hands down to the floor. Can you fold forwards? A little bit of work deep into those hips. If this is as far as you're going, then that's fine for you. If you want to, you can soften and round forwards. Don't force anything. We're just seeing where our body's happy to go to, and then hanging out there, taking some breaths and just trying to find that little bit more softness there. When you're ready, start to slowly come all the way back up and just give your legs a little roll in and out there. If those legs are still working, bring them in, bring the soles of the feet together. And we're just going to lift and lower those knees a few times there, just getting a little bit of movement there. Really good. We're going to make our way over onto our hands and knees next. So when you're ready, let's find our hands and knees. We're going to do some rhomboid push-ups. So fingers spread wide, thumbs point towards each other and elbow pits are forwards. Then we're going to squeeze those shoulder blades and press them wide. Squeeze and press. I'm going to keep going with this. See if you can keep those elbow pits pointing forwards, because these guys want to look at each other. And once you've got yourself in a little bit of a rhythm here, notice if when you squeeze your shoulder blades together, do your shoulders also come up to your ears? And if they do, can you think about drawing the shoulders away from the ears to keep space for your neck the whole time? It's that kind of drawing your armpits down towards your waist movement. Good. And then pausing there and finding that nice wide shoulder blade position. Again, get those elbow pits forwards, and then can you do some shoulder rolls here? It's a little bit of a funny movement to find when you've got your hands down on the floor, but can you find those shoulder rolls? And can you roll the other way? Sometimes find one way works and the other way just it's not quite as smooth. Good job. And then we're going to come down onto our elbows and our knees. Okay, we're going to take one hand, we're going to reach it over to the other side, so kind of reach it off the edge of your mat, it's come across your other hand, and we'll reach in, big stretch for your shoulders and upper back. Can you then pull your bottom back towards your heels, but keep it sticking up in the air, so we're not going into child's pose, we're keeping our bottom up and reaching that arm across. And can you just hold there for a couple of breaths? And we're going to do just the same on the other side. So bring that hand back down and let's take the other hand. It's going to go across your other hand and again over to the edge of the mat. Stretch it out as far as it will go. And then again, pulling your bottom back in the opposite direction, giving us a real nice stretch through our shoulders, our upper back and down that side body. Hold for a couple of breaths. And then when you're ready, bring that hand all the way back in. And let's find child's pose now. So take your bottom all the way back down to rest on your heels and reaching those arms forwards. Allow your body to sink down. Good. And then we're going to come back up onto all fours again. This time we're going to have the toes tucked under, so instead of having the tops of your feet down on the floor, can you get those toes tucked under? We're going to do a little bit of work into our feet here. Once you've got your toes tucked, I want you to find that neutral pelvis, so your bum's not tucking under, kind of stick it out a little bit so that your sit bones are pointing straight out behind you. And then try and keep your spine like that as you take your bottom back towards your heels. And we're just going to rock forwards and backwards here. Just take your bum as far back as it will go without tucking. So if it kind of starts to tuck as it gets close, then just don't go any further. And keep it sticking out. Good. Again, this is really nice for getting deep into those hip creases, really good for knees, ankles, feet. Really good. It's our squat prep. It really helps to get your body moving well enough to start to work on those deep squats. Good. One more. And then as you come forward this time, you can release those feet, bringing the tops of the feet back down to the floor. Okay, we're going to take one leg out long, and then we're going to bring that leg out to the side and allow that foot to come down to the floor. So you can have the sole of the foot down on the floor or the inside edge of the foot, whichever feels good to you. And again, find that neutral position, bottom sticking out. And can you rock forwards and backwards here? Now you won't probably go as far, and that's fine. And you'll find as you take your bottom back towards your heels that you're getting a bit of a stretch into that inner thigh, that leg that's out long. So we're just going to rock forwards and backwards here. Good. And as you go back this time, hold. Find a position where you can hold. And then when you're ready, come forwards and bring that leg in. Just come off your wrists before we do the other side. Just give your wrists a little twirl around, just to make sure that they're not getting a little bit grumpy with you. And then we're going to do just the same on the other side. So find that all fours position again. Other leg at this time is going to go out long and then come out to the side. Again, inside edge of your foot or sole of your foot, whichever makes sense to you, and find that neutral pelvis. And we're going to just rock again, forwards and backwards here. Again, really working into that inner thigh. Just go where it feels okay. So good. And then again, hold. When you get into that back position, hold. And just take a few breaths there. Don't go so far that you can't breathe. And then when you're ready, again, we're going to come forward. So we're going to bring that leg all the way back in. We're going to come up to a kneeling position because we're going to do some lunges next. So let's step one leg forwards. And so here, make sure that your pelvis is level, so we've not got one hip hitched up higher than the other. And then find that slight tuck of the tailbone. And we're going to just gently shift our hips forwards and backwards. Now, if that back knee's bothering you, remember you can roll your mat over, you can grab a cushion just to bolster that knee a little bit. As we just rock gently forwards and backwards here. Good. And then we're going to stay with this kind of rocking gentle forwards and backwards. But what I want you to do with that back leg is bring that lower leg across. Yes, instead of going straight out behind you, it's kind of coming across that midline, which has made this kneeling leg now in that turned out position. And do a few little lunges here. So we're kind of working more the inner thigh now of that back leg. Good. We're going to switch sides and just do the same on the other side. So when you're ready, stepping that other leg forwards this time. You can take a moment to level out your pelvis, that slight tuck of the tailbone. And again, we're just going to rock gently forwards and backwards here. And I like this moving lunge because it really helps to open out that back hip. Good. And then just like we did on the other side, we're going to bring that lower leg across towards that midline and just carry on doing those little lunges here. So that back leg is in that turned out position. Nice. And then when you're ready, we're going to step that leg back and we're going to find child's pose again. So taking your bottom back towards your heels and reaching those arms forwards. We're going to make make our way down onto our front legs. So when you're ready, come all the way down onto your front. And we're going to do a little bit of back extension. So we're going to have our hands just in front of our shoulders and elbows are tucked into your body so they're not kind of poking out to the sides. Pubic bone anchored, tailbone tucked, and you can have your legs together or hip width. When you're ready, on an in-breath, press the hands into the floor and lift the head and the chest away from the floor. And then exhale as you lower down. Just go to where it feels okay for you. Keep that anchored pubic bone. Inhale as you lift and exhale as you lower. Nice and controlled. Can you do 2 more like that? And as you lower down this time, bring your hands around to the front so that you can rest your forehead onto your hands and you can just rock your hips gently side to side, just freeing off your lower back. Now we never come to this position and not do our hip extension, so that's where we're going to next. Keeping that anchored pubic bone, keeping that tailbone tucked, reach one leg away. Make that leg as long as you can, let it lift from the floor and then lower down. Same on the other side, leg reaches and lowers. Keep going, keep switching sides. Trying to find this work in your bottom, back of your thigh, glutes and hamstrings, working hard. Really nice. One more on each side. And as you lower down this time, we're going to again push ourselves up and back into child's pose to stretch out your glutes, to stretch out your lower back. And then when you're ready, make your way over onto your back. Take your time. And when you're over onto your back, we're going to have the feet flat, the knees bent, but bring them together. And then opening out your chest and shoulders, find that T position. We're going to start to move a little bit here by bringing both knees to one side. Coming in through centre and over to the other side. So a little bit of spine twist here. Just go gently from one side to the other. Maybe your head wants to roll the opposite way to your knees if that feels good to you. And then as you come in through centre this time, we're going to bring the soles of the feet together, find that cobbler position. So soles of the feet together, knees roll out to the sides. Hold there. Good, just a couple more breaths here. And then we're going to bring those knees back in towards each other. Bring your knees into your chest now, give your knees a little hug and let's just rock gently side to side, just giving your back a little bit of a massage into the floor. And then let your feet come back down to the floor. We're going to find our number 4 stretch here. So we're going to keep one foot down on the floor and we're going to cross the other ankle over your knee. And this knee that's out to the side, if you're really tight through your hips, the knees kind of want to come towards your nose. So we're going to try and press that knee out to the side as far as we can. And we're going to hold here for a couple of breaths, see how that feels. choose to stay here, or you can pick that supporting leg up and hold behind that knee, taking that number 4 stretch a little deeper. We're going to hold it here. And then we're going to play with taking that number 4 stretch a little deeper again. So we're going to not hold on to the supporting leg, and we're going to reach the supporting leg away from us. So straighten out that supporting leg, reach it away, and then bend it and bring it back in towards you. And as that knee comes in, it's bringing this crossed over leg even closer to your chest. So let's do that again. Straighten out the supporting leg, reach it away, and then draw it in, bringing the number 4 leg even deeper. If it's too much for you, make the movement smaller. You can just go back to your number 4 stretch. Sometimes having a little bit of movement there just helps to release a little bit more. As you bring your knee in this time, just hold it in. And then gently lower it down to the floor. Keeping that crossed over position, that number 4 position, we're going to roll to bring the sole of the foot down to the floor. And then try and keep that knee pointing up to the sky. Can you open your arms out to find that T position here? If it's too much for your hip, just go back into that gentle spine twist. But if you're happy here, we're going to hold and take some deep breaths. Good job. Alright, we're going to roll back onto our back. Use your elbows if you want to. You can press your elbows into the floor to help bring you back in through centre. And we're just going to do the same on the other side. So uncross your legs. And then let's find that number 4 position on the other side. Again, we're just going to stay in this gentle position first, just to check in with our body, make sure we're happy. If that knee's trying to point towards your nose, we're going to encourage it to open out to the side. And then again, you can choose to stay here, or you can float that supporting leg up and hold behind that knee to give that number 4 stretch a little bit more deepness. And then again, let's start to take it into that movement again. So releasing that leg, straightening out that supporting leg, reaching it away from you, and then drawing it in a little deeper. And just because it felt good on one side doesn't always mean it feels good on both sides. So listen to your body, and if it's not right for you on this side, then just go back to your normal number 4 position. If it feels good, keep going. And as you draw the legs in towards you this time, just hold for a breath. And then lowering that supporting leg back down to the floor. Again, keep your number 4 as you roll to bring the sole of the foot down to the floor, knee up to the sky. And can you keep your upper body in that T position? And let's hold there for a few breaths. Good. Alright, when you're ready, we're going to roll onto our back again and release that leg. Take your feet wide now to the edges of your mat for windscreen wipers, allowing both knees to roll to one side, in through centre and over to the other side. So we've just got that nice wide space between our knees and our feet, giving more room for our hips to move so we can get real deep in to that hip joint. One leg's in internal rotation, one is in external rotation. I kind of like when the hips are doing different things. As you come in through centre this time, just pause and then find your strap. We're going to go into the strap stretch next. You're going to place the strap around one foot and lengthen the other leg out long. Try and get both legs as straight as you can. Pushing your heel away, pulling the front of the foot towards you, giving us length through the back of our leg. Let's bring that leg across. Moving that release to your outer hip. Back in through centre, slightly turn the leg out and take it out to the side. When you're ready, bring that leg back in. So we're going to do our happy baby with the leg that's in the strap now. So you might want to just bend your free leg just to give you a little bit more room. And the leg that's in the strap, we're going to pull it down towards us. Trying to get your shin as vertical as you can. Sole of the foot pointing up to the sky. Now you can keep hold of your strap if you want to, or you can hold the outside edge of your foot if you can reach. See how it feels. If you need to take the leg out to the side to give you space to breathe, then please do that. Don't stop breathing. Hold here. Sometimes it's nice to give the back of that leg a little attention, getting into that hamstring, give it a little rub. Notice in this happy baby position, is it making you clench your teeth? Is it making your shoulders come up? Are you finding a lot of tension here? And see if you can just allow yourself to find more softness. Don't need to clench your jaw, don't need to tense your shoulders. It's not going to get your leg any closer to you. So see what you can do with the rest of your body here. And then when you're ready, let's straighten that leg back out. And we're going to pop the strap onto the other leg. So switching sides. Again, both legs as straight as you can get them, pressing out through your heel, pulling the front of the foot towards you. Good job. Bringing that leg across. Remember, if ever it comes across and it's just not happy position for your hip, you don't have to bring it across, you can keep it in centre. Back in to centre, slightly turn that leg out and take it out to the side. And then bring it in through centre. Let's find that happy baby on this side. So again, just bending that free leg just makes it a little easier. Pulling the leg in the strap down towards you. And then either holding that strap or holding that outside edge of your foot. Find the position that works for you. Again, you can give the back of that leg a little bit of attention, give it a little squeeze. Again, those hot spots, check your jaw, check your shoulders. Good. And then when you're ready to come out of that, just straighten that leg long and then get rid of your strap. Pop your your strap down and lengthen out those legs long. Reach your arms overhead. Let's take a stretch from fingertips to toes. Make yourself as long as you can. Circling your arms out to the sides as you bend those knees in. Bringing your knees into your chest. And let's again just rock gently side to side here. One hand on the top of each knee as you open the knees wide. And let's do those big knee and hip circles. Let's do about 5 in each direction. Good. And then when you're ready, just releasing those legs back down to the floor. We're going to come up to seated now, so take your time, but come on up and find a seated position. In fact, I'm going to tell you what seated position. We're going to do 90-90 legs. So can you have one leg forwards and one leg back? So just like how we did the windscreen wipers on the floor, we're going to do it in that seated position. So let your hands come down to the floor behind you and then pivot onto the soles of your feet and let the knees go to the other side. And again, let's just do a few here side to side. So again, it's very much the windscreen wipers, but we're in a different position. We've just changed the geometry, changed your body position, and it just changes the movement a little bit. Gravity affects us, the load is different. I kind of like to play with it in different planes. If you don't need your hands, get your hands away from the floor, more work, excuse me, more work for your abdominals and less space for those hips. So it makes it a little bit more of a challenge. As you roll to one side this time, stay there to that one side. Okay, so we're going to see if we can start to come up a little bit. Don't worry if you can't, but bring your hands to the floor. And can you press into your hands and kind of just roll onto your knees a little bit? Can you start to lift your bottom away from the floor? You can use your hand and then come down and try the other side. So can you let the knees roll? And again, you can use your hand, but can you lift your bottom a little bit? Let's play with this. Just going from one side to the other and seeing if you can find a little lift. There. Again, mobility of those hips. If you don't need your hand, maybe you can come up without the hand. Use it if you need it. If you can't come up, just keep practicing that 90-90 legs, that's fine too. Alright, pause in this time, whichever side you're at. See if you can lift those hips. Can you come all the way up? Even if you have to use your hands, can you come all the way up to a kneeling position? And then can you swing your legs to the other side? So one leg goes, the other leg goes. So your legs are at the opposite side and lower down. So you're still 90-90 but the other way. Can you find that? If not, don't worry about it. Try it again from this side. Do whatever you need to do to get up to that kneeling position. Once you're up there, can you switch your legs to the other side? So you're just kind of swinging your legs from one side to the other and then lowering down. Yeah, you can. Play with that a few times. Lowering. Up. It's more of a challenge, it's more work for those hips. Kind of a bit of a mental thing because you can't see what your legs are doing either. Let's come to find our cobbler here. Bring the soles of your feet together. Let those knees roll out to the side. Let's do that little open and closing of those knees again. Good. So again, thinking about our hip, but also our ankle mobility. Can you find a kneeling position? So we're going to kneel on one leg and have the other leg bent. So we've got the foot flat on the floor. If this is too much for you, grab a cushion and pop a cushion on this bottom leg so that you can sit on a cushion. If you're okay with this, we're going to pull this foot as close in towards us as we can. And we're going to play around with the mobility of this ankle joint. So quite often, this angle between our foot and our shin is about 90 degrees. And that's usually the smallest that angle ever really gets because we walk on flat floors and we wear shoes with a bit of a heel. So we're going to see if we can bring our shin a little closer to our foot. So can you see how that angle has decreased a little bit? And all we're going to do is just rock forwards and backwards here. So we're keeping the heel down and we're just trying to work on the mobility of that ankle. Very gentle, we're not forcing anything, we're just playing and we're seeing. And we're going to compare one side to the other. This is my bad side. I don't have brilliant mobility there. It's something I'm going to work on. One of the many things I'm going to be working on. I always find something new I want to play with. So, shall we try and see what it looks like on the other side? Let's switch legs. Again, we're going to bring that foot in as close towards us as we can. And we're going to rock again forwards and backwards. I mean, I'm not saying that I have brilliant ankle mobility on this side either, but it's better than the other side. And we're kind of using our weight, leaning forwards a little bit to help work on this ankle mobilisation. And you could kind of come forwards and hold it if you wanted to. I kind of like that rocking forwards and backwards. My body seems to respond better to that. But maybe yours just likes to hold. Whatever feels good to you. That's what you're going to do. And a rock forwards and backwards a couple more times. Alright, and then we're going to come out of that. We're going to go back to that wide leg position again. So taking those legs wide. And we're going to again try and push your heels away and pull the front of the foot towards you. You can sit on something if you want to. And we're going to do it just like we did before. We're going to hinge forwards and bring our hands down to the floor. You can stay here, or you can walk your hands forwards and start to round again like we did before. But we're going to move this time. So instead of holding still, can you maybe just move around a little bit, maybe taking your weight from one side to the other. See how it feels. Again, if you prefer to keep still, then you keep still. And again, I just feel like I get a little bit more movement, I get a little bit more release. Good. When you're ready, let's come back up. Let's do cobbler again, so soles of the feet together. I'm going to do the same thing here. We're going to hinge forwards, bringing the hands down to the floor. You can round forwards if you want to. And how about we move around a little bit here? Try it and see. When you're ready, come back up. Let's do legs out long. So both legs out long. This is the hardest position to sit up tall in. So again, if you need to bend your knees a little bit or you need to sit on something, then do. But can you hinge forwards again here? So we've kind of got that flat back hinge, and you can stay there or you can round down. See how it feels. Have a little move around if that feels good to you. Maybe you can reach your ankles, maybe you can reach your toes. Will definitely depend how long your legs are, how long your arms are. A couple of deep breaths here, just allowing your body to soften a little bit. So remember, don't force it, don't take it beyond where it wants to go, but can you find a little bit of softness there? Good, and then when you're ready, just gently come on up. Flip over onto your front. We're going to do a little bit of leg release at the front. We're going to do our quad stretch here, so come on down. And then bending one leg. Can you reach your hand back to grab your ankle? You've always got the option to use a strap if you need to. But you guys have done quite a lot of stretchy. You should be good. Okay, so when we're in this quad stretch, we're trying to keep our pelvis anchored down on the floor. We're trying not to have a big space under this hip bone. And if you want to get even more out of this quad stretch, instead of holding onto your ankle, have the flat of your palm on the top of that foot so that your fingers are pointing towards your ankle. and then your elbow is bent and pointing up to the sky. That way we're getting a shoulder stretch and an even deeper quad stretch. Try that. If that's too much, just go back to your normal position. When you're ready, release that leg. Let's do the same on the other side. So bending the other leg in, grab your ankle. Again, trying to have your pelvis anchored down on the floor. And if you want to take it that bit deeper again, you can again place the palm of your hand on the top of your foot. Fingers are pointing towards your ankle, elbows pointing up to the sky. And see how that feels. And then when you're ready, releasing that leg, let that leg come all the way back down to the floor and just rock your hips gently side to side. Go back to your first leg and this time bend the knee and slide the knee out along the floor, finding that inner thigh stretch position. Again, we're trying to keep our pelvis anchored as best we can. It is going to twist a little bit as that knee's gone out to the side, but once that knee's out, see if you can again try and bring your pelvis back down towards the floor. Good, and then that leg that's bent, let's straighten it out. Same thing, but just a straight leg. And then when you're ready, bending that leg as you bring it back in. Just rocking your hips gently side to side just before we do the other side, just to free off any tension in your back. And then when you're ready, we're going to do the other leg. So bending the knee out to the side. And again, once that knee's out to the side, we're trying to bring our pelvis back down to the floor. And then straightening out that bent leg. And then when you're ready, bend that leg to bring it back in. And we're going to push ourselves up and back to find that child's pose, find that rest position, to stretch out your back. And then staying in that child's position, but can you take your knees wider? So feet kind of stay where they are, but the knees go wider. It's just going to allow you to sink down a little deeper, get a little deeper into those hips. And then staying in that child's pose, but can you walk your hands to one side? So we're getting a little bit of a side bend as well. Walk your hands back in through centre, take them over to the other side. When you're ready, back into centre again, and then gently come on up. We're just going to go over onto our back just to give our legs a little release. One last time, back down onto your back. And we're going to do that kind of butterfly cobbler. So bringing the soles of the feet together, knees out to the side. And take a breath here. As you exhale, let's bring the knees up towards each other, up towards the sky. So inhale, we open the knees. And exhale, we bring them back up. So this is a real nice way to release tension that we might be holding now through those thighs. So this is one of those movements where you'll often get that little bit of shaking. And that's just your body trying to shake off any tension there. I kind of like that. Just going with the flow of your breath. Inhale, open. Exhale, close. Two more. Last time. And as you bring your knees up towards each other, bringing them into your chest and just rock gently side to side. When you're ready, make your way up to seated. Just pausing for a moment in that seated position. And then just rolling your shoulders and go the other way. Let's just gently turn our head side to side. And then coming in through centre, you are all done.